When we last left off with this story, we were faced with the arrival of two new mysterious Saiyans to planet Earth, one of them with a striking resemblance to Vegeta. We found out that this Saiyan's name was Rigor, and his companion was his wife, Sapari. Now, Rigor came to Earth to exact revenge on Vegeta for a past event, something Vegeta did that Vegeta seems to be oblivious to now. I've already told you guys that Rigor is Vegeta's brother, and exactly how and why that is will get revealed as we continue with the story. But part of what makes this one of my favorite Dragon Ball stories of all time, and what makes Rigor such a memorable character, is how that information is revealed, and how much more meaning it gives to the fight between these Saiyans. So, we're gonna start this video with a bit of information about Rigor's history, then we'll jump back forward to present day. The story starts with the narrator giving us the current year, which is age 732. We're on planet Vegeta, homeworld to the Saiyan race after the destruction of planet Sadala. The narrator continues by saying, this violent race is famous throughout the galaxy for their ferocity. However, this story doesn't begin with a tale of war, but something unusual for the members of the Saiyan race. Friendship. We then get a dialogue box of someone saying, it's so good to see you again, Pepra. It's been so long since we got to sit and talk. On the next panel, we get to see who this dialogue belongs to. Two female Saiyans are casually sitting on a rock having a conversation, and one of them is none other than Jine, Goku's mother, but this is before the age of Goku. So let's continue with the conversation. The second Saiyan, who we now know as Pepra, responds by saying, sorry about that, Jine. Things are hectic, especially with a new baby. How's that husband of yours? Jine responds, Bardock? Working as usual. He just left for another mission a couple days ago. Weren't you two in the same squad once? You should come see us next time he's home. With a little smile, Pepper responds, deal, but only under the condition that you cook. I'm a fighter. Homely duties have never been my thing. Oh really? Said Jine. Is that why I've only ever seen you eat those pre-packaged meals? Shut up, those meals are delicious. Pepper responds. Sure, Jine says back to her. The conversation continues with Jine asking Pepra if she's spoken to Echelot lately, someone who we haven't met yet, and Pepra letting her know that they're not on speaking terms. She then quickly pivots the conversation to Jine's new baby boy, who at this point is Goku's brother, Raditz. Jine lets Pepra know that Raditz is still in his nursing capsule, but he shows a bit of potential. He has a power level of 50, which is slightly higher than average for a Saiyan baby. Pepra responds to her saying, that's not a bad number, for a baby, I mean. Yeah, but from what I heard, the prince's number makes his look like nothing. Really? I hadn't heard yet, said Pepra. Are you serious? Everyone knows he broke every previous record. Really, what was his number? 538, said Jine to Pepra. Obviously here they're talking about Vegeta. Pepra is shocked. Jine follows up by saying, yeah, they said he's got the making of a super elite for sure. Maybe even, oh wait. And then Jine remembers that she hadn't gotten the numbers of Pepra's recently born son. So she asks, did you get your son's numbers yet? Oh yeah, respond Pepra, looking worried for some reason. Jine says, really? Let's have it. Don't leave me in the dark. And then Pepra lets her know that her son's power level at birth was 510. Jine responds, that's crazy. Saiyan children really break into the 500s. The prince's numbers were highly irregular. For two to be born over 500 in the same day. I mean, this is awesome. I know you never talk about him, but shouldn't we let the father know? He already knows, Jine. Believe me, he knows. At the same time, Pepra gets a message through her scouter. This is Lieutenant Pepra, she said. Go ahead. Really? So soon? We weren't supposed to go for another. I understand. I'm on my way. What is it? Said Jine. New orders directly from the king. We're moving the mission ahead. That damn Frieza wants it done now. Well, what about your son? Said Jine. He's still in a nursing capsule. I'll only be a few days. Jine, I need you to promise me something. If anything were to happen, I want you to look after my boy. Pepra, I couldn't possibly. Promise me, Jine. We don't have anyone else. You're the only one I trust to look after him if I'm gone. All right, Pepra. I promise. Thank you. I'll be back in a few days. I'll get clearance to check in on my son. Oh, okay. Did you give him a name yet? Of course. I named him after my father. Really? That's so sweet. What's his name then? And you've all probably already guessed it. Pepper's son with the power level to match Vegeta's. His name is Rigor. Back to present day. Vegeta is standing in awe at Rigor's new power. What is that? He thought. It looks like a Super Saiyan, but it feels so much stronger. And those red eyes, that red aura. Immediately, Rigor attacks. Fast, thought Vegeta, who barely manages to dodge Rigor's punch. The blow, however, is so powerful that it completely destroys the area Vegeta was standing on. There's an intense back and forth. Rigor is powerful, but this is still Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. The two are too fast for even Sapari's eyes to follow. They eventually clash in a test of strength. Open palm versus open palm. And this is where Vegeta notices that physically, Rigor is just stronger. Rigor begins to overpower him. Vegeta leaps away. "What are you?" he says. Rigor's response? "Judgment." "Judgment? What for?" said Vegeta. "Don't play dumb. You know what I'm talking about," Rigor says as he charges Vegeta. Vegeta responds with a ki blast from his left hand, creating multiple explosions around Rigor. Rigor's speed blitzes through the explosion, getting above Vegeta and hits him with a powerful blow from behind, knocking Vegeta towards the ground. He then charges at the Prince, who's frustrated and sends a second ki blast directly at Rigor. Another huge explosion, but Rigor simply flies through it, completely unscathed. He throws a punch that Vegeta manages to dodge, and then Vegeta counterattacks, for the first time catching Rigor off guard. A powerful blow that Vegeta quickly follows up with a second powerful punch. It finally seems like Vegeta is gaining the upper hand, but on his third punch, Rigor simply catches it. With what feels like almost a bit of condescension, Rigor delivers his own blow to Vegeta while still hanging on to his fist. He then backhands Vegeta, sending him flying, hitting the ground a few yards away. Looking down on Vegeta, he says, "You hit harder when we were kids. This is a game to you?" Vegeta responds, "By no means. Didn't I tell you I wanted you to know nothing you did would matter? Give me your best shot," said Rigor. "You want my best shot?" Vegeta yells. "Fine." He begins charging his ki, focusing it all in his right hand. "Let's see how you like this," Vegeta yells, sending his now iconic Final Shine attack towards Rigor. Rigor begins to yell and then simply kicks Vegeta's attack. Alright, we have to stop here for a second because this is insane. Vegeta's Final Shine attack isn't just any old regular attack. This is his finisher. This is the upgraded version of his Final Flash attack, which in itself is a finisher. So this is the finisher of finishers, and it's even more powerful when he's in his Super Saiyan 4 form. His ultimate attack, and Rigor simply deflects it. This is crazy, but let's continue. "Impossible," said Vegeta, in disbelief. Piccolo and Mr. Popo, who are still observing the fight from Kami's lookout, cannot believe what just happened. "This isn't good," said Mr. Popo. "Popo, hail the Kaioshin. Son Goku must know about this," said Piccolo as Mr. Popo runs off to contact Goku. Sensing the battle, Goten breaks into cold sweat. The same happens to Trunks, who is with his girlfriend. She asks, "What's the matter, Trunks?" He responds, "It's hard to explain, Emmy." Back on the battlefield, Vegeta has lost his aura, putting most of his energy into that attack. Rigor simply stands there, an immovable wall, looking at Vegeta. "How does it feel, Vegeta?" he says. "How does it feel to face a future you cannot change? A fate you cannot outrun? How does it feel to know that for all your touted might, you are completely, utterly powerless? I've borne that very weight for decades, haunted by your cruelty, tormented endlessly by what you've done. So much so that I can never sleep without divisions. I can't remember the last time I slept through the night." Off to the side, Sapari is moved by Rigor's words. He continues, "You really don't remember, do you?" Then he begins looking at his left hand. This turns into a memory of him looking at the same hand when he was much younger, covered with blood and bruises. On the next panel, we see him as a child, banging on the glass of a Saiyan capsule with the text, "I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. After all, how many lives have you snuffed out without a second thought?" Rigor is in tears, and it looks like he's being protected by someone. "How would her death be any different?" he said, as a bloody, beaten Saiyan stands in front of him, surrounded by the silhouettes of her attackers. "Her who?" asked Vegeta. Still looking at his hand, Rigor responds, "Decades ago, I made a promise. a promise to a life that you destroyed. On the next page, we see a furious Rigor with an image of his mother, Pepra, in the background. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is unfortunately where this chapter ends. If you made it this far in the video, hashtag Vegeta's past in the comments below. It seems like you guys are really enjoying this series, so I'll be working on getting this out for you ASAP. This